evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 p.m. in Bamenda, 6 p.m. in the southwest region of Cameroon, Boya, 6 p.m. in the littoral economic capital of Cameroon, and 6 p.m. in Yaoundé, administrative capital of Cameroon. You are welcome to the 6 p.m. news on Camdis television. First, you have the headlines. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, held an extensive discussion with Ambassador Christophe Guillot in the Unity Palace on June 3, 2021. Both personalities exchanged views on the current state of affairs with the Central African sub-region, the revitalization of Cameroon's economy to counter the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the strengthening of the friendly and historic bilateral ties that exist between Yaoundé and Paris. In prelude to the International Biodiversity Day, a roundtable talk was held to discuss on the role of bamboo to ecosystem. Despite the ignorance concerning bamboo, it has several advantages in the restoration of degraded lands. A 2-day discussion between the honorable parliamentarians of the Cultural, Social and Family Commission and the Ministry of Arts and Culture ended this Friday, June 4th, with some resolutions taken in order to better handle the project of the ministry. With the 26 posts in the said ministry, the directions hope to receive positive results from the Member of Parliament. You're welcome back. We begin the news with this audience that took place at the Unity Palace between the ambassador of France, Christophe Guillot, to Cameroon on June 3rd at the Unity Palace. BrigadeAntiSardinard has an in-depth of the following report.
France and Cameroon have long-standing and intense relations which covers many sectors: governance, health, education, infrastructure, rural development, security, among others.
Son Excellence, Monsieur Christophe Guillot, Ambassadeur de France au Cameroun.
It is in regards to these long-lasting and intense relations that President Paul Biya received in audience French Ambassador to Cameroon, Christian Guillot, on June 3, 2021.
We had an extensive discussion with President Paul Biya, and we raised a number of topics, among them the international situation, and I briefed the President about the conclusion of the recent summit about financing African economies that was held a few days ago in Paris, and the country was represented by the Minister of Finance.
During the audience, both personalities for close to an hour discussed on issues affecting Yaoundé and Paris, with emphasis laid on the just-ended summit, health, security and bilateral relations between France and Cameroon.
We also had an exchange of views about the regional situation, and finally we discussed about the situation in Cameroon and the development of bilateral relations between our two countries.
Christian Guillot, bearer of a special message from the French President Emmanuel Macron, left the Unity Palace satisfied with hope that the bilateral relations remain strong and lasting.
The 2 days exchange between the honorable parliamentarians of the Cultural, Social and Family Commission ended this Friday, June 4th, at the National Museum with some resolutions taken. The parliamentarians came and discovered how the Ministry of Arts and Culture has been coping, though its budget of 1.80 billion has not been provided since 2020, and so took some resolutions. Our reporter tells us more in the following report. The second day of exchange between honorable parliamentarians of the Cultural, Social and Family Commission and officials of the Ministry of Arts and Culture was focused on culture as an instrument of dynamic development, culture in the service of durable development. two fundamental axes were handled, namely the structuralization of the culture sector to permit the sector to be at ease. When we talk about structuring, we talk of political and professional structuralization. In the political sphere, we talk of copyright. In culture, artists live from copyright or prestations in different outdoor events and also on contracts.
Je vais donc préciser les composantes. Première composante, les organismes.
Talking about the legal process of copywriting, I will first of all enumerate the elements which are necessary and that must come to play. These include the organization to take care of the copyright. This is to say the Ministry of Arts and Culture, the management organization since 2020. The year COVID-19 hit the country, it was a crisis that was imposed. It was a crisis that has imposed many things and needs many harsh methods to be stopped. We were taken by our department to consolidate the dispositions of June 2 and to arrive at such decisions concerning the copyright law.
Dans le but d'améliorer et consolider le dispositif juridique sur loi 2.
The parliamentarians were made to be more interested and look for possible means to be able to help artists. The ministry has divided the different domains into 26 professional pools which were visited after the exchange session. At the end of the 2 days meeting, some resolutions were taken, some of which are: the honorable parliamentarians of the Cultural, Social and Family Commission will table a request of the ministry to other parliamentarians, the Ministry of Economy and the Prime Ministry, so that they will be able to put in budget to fund different projects to be realized. Secondly, they were also pleaded to take a petition to permit artists perform in outdoor events with the use of a contract. And lastly, make a practicable law that will boost the right of each artist. The discussion session between the honorable parliamentarians of the Cultural, Social and Family Commission and officials of the Ministry of Arts and Culture allowed different structures of their domains to implant stands where they would do expositions of their different works. Our reporter tells us about the different stands and their role in the promotion and development of arts and culture in the country. Her report. The cultural and creative industry are a real opportunity for the development of Cameroon for job creation. For this development to come, the structuring concerns all the change segment, training, financing, marketing, distribution, and the legal framework. In a bid to showcase the works of the Arts and Cultural Ministry, different stands were created to this effect. For administrative documents to be kept and safeguarded, there is a directorate in charge of that.
We cooperate with all international organizations, both national and international, in anything that has to do with archives and records management. We ensure capacity building and continuous training of professionals already in the field. We also validate curriculums.
The promotion of books and reading committee are part of this event.
Promote public reading, making sure that Cameroonians read, and in the same time we have what you call the book industry that will support publishers and actors who want to publish their books.
Cinematography is another phase of development which has taken the country far.
Here we actually explain to the honorable members of parliament the importance of cinema and the possibilities that we have and the blessings that we have to use cinema to sell Cameroon.
The Directorate of Audio and Visual are this part of the ministry which deal with anything that can be heard or seen.
Live art is everything that you can see, you can watch, like television. Now visual art is something that we are seeing. To be artists in Cameroon, you have to start in your village. After your village, you go in your council. After council, you go subdivision. After subdivision, division. After division, region, and national.
The above mentioned are some of the so many structures of the Ministry of Arts and Culture in charge of the elaboration and the implementation of the governmental policy in the domain of the promotion and development of art and culture.
Environment. Vis-a-vis this year's International Biodiversity Day, a roundtable talk has been held at the Environmental Data and Documentation Center here in Yaoundé today, June 4, 2021. The reunion held under the auspices of the Minister of Environment, Nature, Protection and Sustainable Development through a special representative. This meeting had as focus the importance of bamboo to the restoration of ecosystems. The language was at the talk and brought back the following report.
The bamboo and other non-timber products are top priority in this year's celebration of the International Day for Biodiversity. This was a focal point of this roundtable talk at the Center for Environmental Data and Documentation.
Bamboo falls into what we call non-timber forest product, produits forestiers non ligneux, and we believe that this particular plant has been tested elsewhere and has proven its adaptation and is able to not only to contribute to recover, to restore degraded lands, but it's also very useful when it comes to to usage for art and whatever. So we believe that it's much more easier to test, to use bamboo.
Despite the seeming ignorance concerning bamboo, it has several advantages in the restoration of degraded lands.
Physiological features that bamboo offers in terms of protection and sustainable management of our environment. Bamboo has the capacity to contribute to this environment from different aspects. First of all, bamboo reaches maturity quite fast. It has an optimum growth speed of 1 meter every 24 hours. This is unbeatable in terms of biomass accumulation. So because bamboo is able to grow this fast, it has the capacity to restore degraded land. We have cases in countries like India, Ghana, where we have intense briquetting and we have used bamboo to restore the land.
The challenges too can sometimes be enormous.
INBA has been able to identify appropriate species which could be planted in those places. So bamboo is just a tool that the Ministry of Environment can use to attain its commitment in terms of nature protection. You know, our country has engaged at international level to restore 12 million of degraded land. So bamboo is a tool that the ministry is using to be able to meet this international commitment. And apart from being able to provide these environmental benefits, bamboo at the same time, it's protecting the environment. It also offers livelihood for the people depending on bamboo.
Fighting against land degradation, stopping the loss of biodiversity, fighting desertification while promoting a natural environment and the ecosystem were other major focal points of this meeting.
In education, the results of the common entrance examination of Class 6 pupils in the English sub-system of education has been released in the Central Region and published in schools. The ambience in most schools this morning was breathtaking as those who passed in List A and B jubilated in school premises. Colette Loom visited some of these schools in the nation's capital and brought back this report.
This is the ambience in one of the primary schools here in the city of Yaoundé early this morning as pupils of Class 6 in the English subsystem of education rejoice and jubilate as results of the common entrance examinations were pasted in most schools in the Central Region.
All the other subjects are solved mathematics, history, geography, citizenship,
What is the secret of grabbing this success, especially in List A? Failing to plan is planning to fail. These pupils succeeded due to hard work. Congratulations to all who made it in the List A and B respectively. And to those who couldn't make it, try again and you will make it next time.
Cameroon have joined the international community this June 4th to commemorate the International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression. Objective of this year's celebration is to acknowledge the pain suffered by children, especially minors, as they face a lot of sexual, physical, and psychological torture. Anomeko tells us more in the following report.
Children, especially minors, undergo a lot of physical, mental, psychological and sexual torture, mostly from their loved ones. Objective of this day, June 4th, officially observed by the international community to acknowledge the pain suffered by children throughout the world. This year's theme, Act Now, End Child Labor, focuses on measures to completely eliminate child labor in Cameroon and the world at large. According to world statistics, child labor has decreased by 38% in the last decades. Unfortunately, about 152 million children are still in child labor. This is one of the reasons behind the increasing number of street children who get frustrated and obliged to indulge themselves in criminal and immoral activities. Recently, 6 pupils, 3 boys and 3 girls, aged between 6 to 14 years, were abducted by unknown men of the underworld on their way back from school in Yaoundé. Another reminder for parents to multiply efforts to protect their children to and from school, as the future of any great nation is in the hands of these children. The 1 million question is, where have these children been taken to, and who are those behind this criminal act that is gaining more grounds in our society? Many minors in war-torn zones also face a lot of aggressions, and this has contributed to affecting their education and health. Children's rights must be respected, and violators should be ready to face the wrath of God and the law.
We now talk sports, as handball lionesses of Cameroon by training ahead of the 24th edition of the Continental Handball Jamboree on home soil from June 8 to 18 this year. There is hope for them to lift the trophy for the first time. BrigadeAntiSardinard in the following report looks at the road covered by the lionesses from 1974 till date. His report.
The handball lionesses have never emerged champions of the African Women Championship, but there is hope for a first victory in the 18th participation in 24th edition of the African Handball Cup of Nations on home soil. In previous 17 expeditions, the club finished 3 times runner-up in 1979 in Congo, 1987 in Morocco, and 2004 in Egypt. During the past 23 editions of the competition, Cameroon missed out in a memorable showpiece in 1974 in Tunisia. There were several absentees between 1989 and 1994. The inconsistency didn't jeopardize Cameroon's endeavors to create continental records. 3 times they have been ranked 4th, and on 4 occasions ranked 5th and 3 times 7th positions. The handball indomitable lionesses are therefore intensified training ahead of this year's competition on home soil to run from June 8 to 18th, 2021. The club aspires to create history against top clubs like Angola, defending champions with 13 trophies. Only 5 countries in the past 23 editions have lifted the Continental Trophy. The tournament opening for this year, 2021, will be host country Cameroon against Kenya.
We continue to talk sports and handball, as Cameroon gear up to host the CAN African Handball Championship. The sporting sides have in the last days undergone final touches to host the competition. Stephen Elangwe visited the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex and the Fandena Gymnasium and brought back the following report.
Sports avenues in Yaoundé are ready for this year's CAN Female Handball Championship. The Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex and the Gymnasium of Fandena are the main stadia to host the competition. In the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex, for example, works and pre-competition touches are being done. An enormous advancement has been registered. Over in the Fandena Gymnasium, an inside and an outside view shows that the complex is poised for the CAN handball competition to start on the 8th of June.
Works are advancing well and we are at 90% of realization. The gymnasium will be ready for the CAN.
About 72 hours to the competition, stadium-wise, one can say Cameroon is set to host this year's Female Handball African Championship.
We continue in sports and move to Crise, where the caravan of the 17th edition of the International Cycling Tour is in Crise, where the 60 riders are resting before the 2 remaining stages of the race. Our reporter, Tabby Clarkson, is in the caravan and he brought back this report.
After 6 stages of the competition, this Friday is a day to rest, a day to visit the Crise beach, a day to relax before tackling the 2 remaining laps, notably Boum Nyeben Balmayo tomorrow Saturday and a Bolova Yaoundé on Sunday. While waiting to confront the challenges, the rest in Crise is very welcome.
So happy for this event. Cameroon have a yellow jersey. The yellow jersey, that's my pressure. And secondly, we have the turn for we have about 5 attempts that were no accident. So I'm so happy for the moment.
Today is a time to take photos to immortalize the historic moments to some, and to others, photos to always remember the first day they ever met. So for now, Cameroon's Kamzon Clovis Abesolo is in yellow, and no doubt plans and strategies are ongoing for him to preserve the yellow jersey when the race ends on Sunday.
We now go out of the country, where the Democratic Republic of Congo has extended the state in the violence-hit region, while France has halted joint army operations with Malian forces. This and more in our international page with Colette Loom.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has extended state of surge in violence-hit eastern region. Democratic Republic of Congo politicians voted on Thursday to extend martial law in the restive east of the country for 15 days, a month after they replaced civilian authorities with military administrations in North Kivu and Ituri provinces. France has halted joint army operations with Malian forces over coup in its strongest reaction yet to last week's coup in Mali. France has said it will suspend its joint military operation with Malian forces, awaiting guarantees that civilians return to position of power. Rising violence in northern West Nigeria's Zamfara state is stoking the humanitarian crisis, according to international medical charity Doctors Without Borders. The region has struggled with decades-long communal clashes over resources, but more recently, some groups have become more violent, looting, stealing, and kidnapping for ransom, and people are fleeing to areas where aid groups are struggling to respond. The administration of the United States of America under President Joe Biden has announced its plans to share with the world a stockpile of 25 million unused COVID-19 vaccine doses. NATO ministers will be meeting to prepare first summit with Joe Biden of the United States of America.
That is where we leave it for the 6 p.m. news for this week. We'll be back on Monday with yet another beautiful package. Do have great moments in the company of Camdis Television.